So today I'm going to get started on doing the tube front of the S14. I'm going to start by removing the fenders, removing the turbo. Turbo's got to be shipped out to be rebuilt anyway. And removing the front bumper, removing the dash bar. Headlights, basically most of this stuff here in the front end. And then we'll get to chopping. Just got to kind of figure out where I want to cut and start tubing. I think I'm gonna start the tube right about here. Trim these wheel wells that I installed the very first thing I did on the car, which I don't like them. And try and move some wires around and make it all, just clean it up. Update. I found that, I guess my traction arm, I think that's what it's called. This arm up here is bent. Doesn't look too hot. So I need to get a replacement or try and bend it back out. Which I may try and bend it back out before doing that. This one's fine. Right now I disconnected the turbo drain line. I am pulling off the wastegate lines here so I can pull the turbo off. So far everything else looks like it's held together. Go ahead and once I'm all done pulling things apart, I'm going to chop it right here. Put a flat plate and make a new bash bar on both sides. Chop it off, get all this cleaned up and painted. It's actually pretty nice, much better than my first revision. So just gonna keep rolling. Okay, so progress report. We got the turbo off and started pulling a bunch of extra stuff off. I did find an issue with the T4 turbo bolts. 2 of them are loose, 2 of them are completely gone. Or the nuts, I should say. The bolts are still there. But this is the damage report. Got a blown T4 gasket. I don't know to what extent that would have caused or kind of issues it would have caused. But mid-drift week, the car was running just fine all the entire trip, and all of a sudden it was hitting 9 AFR on the track, just running terribly. And so luckily Rasmus from ECU Master, he was there. He was able to retune the car because I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. I thought it was a boost leak. And he got it running great, and we finished off strong. Finished off drift week strong, and then I went to the dyno, and the first graph was pretty early in boost. It took off really well, but then the next after that, it just was not hitting boost as early as that initial run. Also, the other thing was on the E85 tune that was previously working, it was running completely lean on full throttle. It just did not want to take off in lower RPMs. So I don't know if that gasket was causing the problem or not. I've reached out to Ben to see if he thinks it could have caused any issues. I mean, obviously something's not sealing, something's going on, but anyways, I'm still gonna send the turbo off to get rebuilt, mainly just because of the impellers are a little beat up. I don't want those to get any worse than they are. So I found somebody who rebuilds the Garretts, who got some new impeller blades made, because otherwise I would have had to buy the entire core, which the core is the price of a brand new turbo. So, Twitch is farting around here. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna get back to it. and start moving wires and stuff and tape all this off so that I can do some cutting. I'm gonna do some clearancing also. Oh, it did look like the turbo was flopping around in here. Not good, not good. So I'll get it all fixed up and start the season off well. I'll use this seam as a reference and I'll cut this off at the frame rail, box it in. Like I said earlier, cut this off. Same thing, I think that's a good reference point. Yeah, that's a good reference point right there. Cut it off and build a tube front end from there. And just like that, this thing looks extra funny. Pretty much did it all with the Sawzall, which was really fast. Everything seems square enough. Decided to leave a little bit more here so it just kind of flows. Got to clean up down here, clean all the edges off, grind them all smooth, weld the pinch welds back together, and figure out new mounts for bash bar. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people use these two bolts. One is drilled through and then the other one's kind of notched and it just kind of falls into place. Probably this one's, I think I'm going to do this one drill through, this one notched so the bash bar can go in and go into place. That way it's got some strength going down. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I've got some home stuff I got to do. Gotta water my wife's plants. Gotta feed this one because she's getting grumpy. Oh, kinda, but she's playing with the trash. Back in the garage today. I am going to start working on the tube front. I'm gonna start bending some tubing from there to here. Off camera, I had already installed these plates here and here. I mocked up the fender, and that way I can kind of figure out which way the tubes need to land. You want to come up this way, slight angle coming down, 90 over at a 45, and come back down and hit the top of the frame rail. I also got the rear bumper mounted up, so this one, brand new KVD bumper, ready to go. I've made the new tabs on the inside. Probably can't see that very well, but so that's ready. But first thing, I've got to move this thing. Alright, quick disclaimer. I have fabrication tubing bending experience. I'm not the best, I'm still learning, so bear with me. I may be doing something wrong, I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. So, best way to learn is by trying and doing. So that's the concept I went by building the car. So first of all, I'm going to try and line my fenders up better than they ever were. This is about where I want this side. I'm gonna pull the front bolt off and pull this one in a little bit closer. And then what I also want to do is set the hood up a little bit so that it doesn't sit on the motor. And then with tubing the front end, I can lift the fenders so the body lines kind of match up a little bit better. Still not gonna be the greatest, I'm not a body guy, but I'll do my best to make it look better than it has. So, I mean, look at that spacing there versus that there, much better. So, start with that. Happy with it there. Should, boom, much better, much better. So once again, head's gonna sit up, fender will sit up a little bit. Now I'm gonna do that on the other side. All right, we've got both sides much better than they used to be. Good enough for me, to be honest. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, well, now what I'm gonna do, I've got to obviously put this on my Amazon headstrats aren't holding very well anymore. Need to replace this. I have that in the description below, the link to those hood struts. Everyone asked me about them, and they work out great. Just got to be creative on how you mount them. Oh, doesn't look too bad. Can't really tell. All you see is 2 screws on the other side. Anyways, so I am going to figure out what. I think what I'm going to do is just bend it, take a tube and go straight with it, bend to 90, and then twist it down, come down at an angle, and then whatever the finish angle is to get to this point here. So kind of tricky. Let's see if I can figure it out. All right, after some calculations and whatever, some guessing, this is kind of what I came up with. I'm gonna bend it to a 90, then I'm gonna twist it down, and that should leave me with a 30-degree bend to hit this point. And main thing what I use is to figure out the center of the bend, and then I can figure out where the start of the bend is by knowing the total inches per degree of bend, which is on the bender, and then I should be able to find that start point of the bend. And then I'll have to do a 6-inch offset, because where the tube is held versus the point that it actually starts bending, this here is 6 inch, the front of this is 6 inches from the center of this die. So total length, I got about 34 inches with some room to spare. So I'll go ahead and cut a piece up at 34 and hope I don't waste any tubing. All right, now I'm going to mark the start of the bend, of the 90-degree bend, minus 6 inches for the offset. Start of bend is 8.32 inches. But I've got to subtract 6 inches because the offset, which comes out to 2.32, which I'll start it at 2 5/16. Start 2 5/16 inch. That should get me close enough to the center of the bend of being 13 inches. So try that apparently, and we'll see. I'm going to mark it on the tube and then bend it 90 degree. Hope it's not too hard to see, but that line, that black line right there is with the offset that I marked. So now I'll go ahead and clamp this down and start bending. Alright, so this was supposed to be a 90-degree bend, but tubing metal has a spring back, so even if you get it to 90 degrees, it will spring back a certain amount of degrees. I've already kind of figured out what 90-degree spring back was. It's actually not 87, it's 86, but I have it at 86 right now. We'll see. So the reason why it's 86, it's 4 degrees past 90, so the gauge flips over, coming out to 86. So let's see if it comes out to right about 90. Should be close. So it's springed back to 88 degrees. So I'm gonna bend it another, I guess I'll start with a degree and see where I end up. So don't loosen this up because you'll lose everything. It'll be a pain in the butt to figure back out. So I'm going to bend it back to where this is flat, reset the gauge, and then put it back on there and bend to 85. This is one of my only complaints with this bender is this block keeps flipping. They make a roller that I just need to make the purchase so I can quit messing with it. Alright, that is 5 degrees over, so we'll see what the spring back is now. So I'm not going to release it all the way. 0. Close enough. 89.74. Very, very close. Close enough. So now, I'm going to cut 1 inch off of this end here. Alright, I cut 1 inch off. The reason why I don't want to bend this now is I want to double check measurements and figure out the angle going this way and this way. Before I go too far and just screw up and waste a piece of tube. So take this guy, put it on here, right up there. Find the place that I'm happy with it at. Nothing more I hate than wasting tubing, but you gotta try something. So can't be afraid to try. So I think I should have left a little extra on this side, but unfortunately I think this tube may be a waste, but like I said, never gonna learn if you don't try. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to rotate this 30 degrees, bend a 60 degree in, put a 60 degree bend into it, and see where it ends up. Okay, I know what I did. We're like this, probably like this in the bender, and bend 30 degrees down. No twisting. This has to stay flat or up, one of the two. But I need enough end here to be able to do that. So I think what I'll have to do is do it the same exact way, like this, and 60 degrees, and that should give me what I want, actually. Yeah, sure enough, I think that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut another piece, but leave about a foot on this end. All right, I think I figured it out. What I'm going to do is start with a fresh tube, and I'm not gonna cut anything yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and bend the 90-degree bend, and mark my marks, bend the 90-degree bend, rotate the tube flat like this, and then I'm gonna bend the 60. And that should get me what I want there, and then do the same thing, and then cut it off, then do the same thing, bend the 90, but then I'm gonna bend it this way. And that should be the passenger and the driver's side. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that right now. All right, finally got it. Took 3 tries, but you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out. But, so now it fits really well. I'm going to tack them in. Right there, there goes one. And then pull the fenders off. Weld them in nice. Put the fenders back on, and then I'm going to work on the cross piece. Fenders will come off, weld them all in, and now I gotta figure out how to do this. I realize now that I should have probably done a time lapse or something. Just didn't want it to make the video super long, but got this center crossbar tacked in. So ideally what I'm gonna do, so I'm going to make tabs probably like this, top and bottom, weld the tabs in place, and drill a hole, drill a bolt through this upper support. And I'll cut the welds, and I will mount the headlight to this, the headlights I should say, and then probably run something from this bar to the intercooler, mount those guys, and then I'll run some supports from this corner to the fenders, and maybe to the headlights also, just for added support. And then same thing here. Just one more screw should do it on these fenders, one more bolt. And yeah, this thing will be ready to go back together. Turbo's coming in this week, so I'm gonna kind of jam out and put these tabs in place. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. It'll help me grow this channel, and I will continue to do more stuff like this on this car and that car, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And soon enough we'll be at Coda doing drift demos. Thank you.